So welcome to Mentor Talks. I'm Tatia, CEO and co-founder of Upnotch. Upnotch is a business mentorship platform for executives and entrepreneurs. We bring together industry leaders and like-minded individuals to help share knowledge through one-on-one mentorships or through these talks. If you want to grow your career or your business, feel free to sign up at Upnotch by downloading the app at Google Play or at the App Store.
I am so excited to be here today. I am here with an incredible person, Rosi Orozco. Rosie, I have heard about your work that you're doing in Mexico, and it is so impressive. Could you give me like a high-level overview of what your work is, really, before we get started?
Jerry, of course, and I have heard so many things about you too. Well, our job, because we are a big team here in Mexico, it's not the job of a woman, but it's a job of so many people that are committed against human trafficking, because we have heard the stories of victims. And then after hearing the first one, I never went to sleep without doing something. The first time was in 2005 in Washington in an event called the Bridge Project. And I heard this horrible story. I cried for a week. And I went back to Mexico to start the first shelter, 2007. Then 2017, we started the first shelters for boys. The first one was for girls. And then also when we were taking these victims to the trials with the judges, with the prosecutors, we saw that the law was very necessary. So that's when I went as a candidate for Congress, and I became a congresswoman, and we started the first commission against human trafficking in Mexico. We succeed, we passed the bill, and that's our law now in Mexico. And we believe that every victim deserves to have a blank page, a white piece of paper where they can write a new story. In the shelters, we give them these papers to write a book of dreams, to have a new life project. So yes. I know that you also are an incredible person, that you have helped so many people, and I want to hear also what is the stories that you have, and how is your job doing?
Oh my goodness, Rosie. I am Native American. I am a Shoshone-Bannock tribal member, and in Native culture, what we do to honor somebody is we raise our hands. And so, Rosie, I am raising my hands to the incredible work that you have done. And you know, I look forward to future conversations about how we can collaborate, and I'm very impressed with your work. So about me, I will be honest with you. I am a survivor of trafficking. I was trafficked from 13 till 19, started with a boyfriend situation. And when I did get away from my trafficker at the age of 19, there wasn't systems and there wasn't services in place. Yeah, and I have dedicated my life. I went back to school, got a degree in social work, and have dedicated my life to changing that, to building those systems to respond, to building, screening questions where domestic violence or youth shelters or whatever it is, that they're looking for trafficking. And also do a lot of work with tribal nations, across the entire United States and up into Canada. And I, in the last 20 years, have gotten attention of the U.S. government, and we have been able to work with different branches. I am considered a subject matter expert for the Office of Trafficking in Persons. I do work for U.S. Department of State. But it's not just me. It's like Rosie said, it is a collaborative team. And we're small, but we're mighty and we're dedicated. besides our work that we do developing systems, we have a survivor leadership program called the Mariposa Project. Everybody that is on our staff is Indigenous and a survivor. And so I really believe in elevating the voices of survivors and giving opportunities. Like you said, that blank sheet. And what is a way to dream and have financial, opportunities to get decent jobs. And, so we're right on the same page as that. We also have a direct service branch where we work with different law enforcement, where they go out and say they are able to recover a trafficking victim. We're able to help them with hotel rooms, gas cards, food, clothing. We've done everything to support survivors, all the way from changing the locks on their home, all the way to getting them a plane ticket and a placement in a shelter in another state. And we have only been around since 2016, but I've been doing this work for 20 years. And I can tell you, my healing journey along the way, if people wouldn't have came alongside me and believed in me, I wouldn't be here today. So I strive to not only to be that person personally for survivors, but to build a team of survivors to be able to do that, and then continue to grow. And eventually we hope that we can work ourselves out of a job.
Wow.
And, yes,
Wow.
And so that's just a quick overview.
Yes, and I have the same feeling that we in our organization, we have 7 survivors that work with us. A man who was 14 years old when he was forced to prostitution, and the rest are women, but some of them, like Carlita, was taken at 12, and she has a horrible story, but now she's somebody that I admire. And I think what inspired myself is that people like you and me, we are the same. We deserve justice. We deserve love. We deserve dignity. And when I was in this event that I listened to the first story of a victim, I was really thinking how many years I had love. I have an incredible husband, an incredible and lovely family, and I had so much in life, and I don't deserve it. But neither deserve nobody like you to be a victim and to suffer any kind of exploitation. I think everybody it's designed to have their dignity and to have a project of life and to be successful and happy. So tell me, which is the most difficult challenge you have faced in this incredible life?
Honestly, I can think of, barriers that I encountered. And that's why I believe that systems are so important. When I'm talking about systems, I'm talking about, how can we get affordable housing? How can we get more shelters? How can we, work with law enforcement to not criminalize people for prostitution and to get them to see them as victims. And we've worked hard for the last 5 years doing education, and it's finally came around where victims aren't getting arrested and that they're going after the buyers. And when we really look at that, they're going after the buyers and they're going after the traffickers. Because when we look at human trafficking, it is the second largest criminal enterprise in the world. And it generated, according to a 2017 report from Department of Justice, that human trafficking on a global, so worldwide, is estimated to generate $150.2 billion a year, which is bigger than Nike, Amazon, and Uber combined. And so, when we look at barriers, there's a lot of times not accountability for buyers, because if there wasn't buyers, there wouldn't be people being exploited. And so, when we talk about, what are some of our successes? I mean, we've gotten bills passed into law. We're getting ready as a state to open up 2 receiving stations, one in Eastern Washington and one here in Western Washington for youth, so that law enforcement isn't arresting youth, but they're taking them someplace safe that's not a lockdown place, and then being able to work with advocates and help them along their healing journey. And it's not easy work. And so I want to ask you, honestly, what's a great win story for you, and what inspired you to start your own nonprofit?
The most important thing that we have achieved in this team is the law, of course, because the Mexican law even punish the clients, the man, in the Article 35. Just that it was a huge challenge, because at the end of this process to approve a law, there was people who made a trick, and they put some words that says that the client has to know that the victim is a victim. So it was really, it was terrible. But it was such a challenge, not only to approve the law, but also to protect it, because after we achieved, and we, thanks to 500 Congress people in the Senator Chamber 128, but all these together, they voted unanimous. And that was incredible, because it was to get it unanimous. It's really something very difficult, and it was like that. And then to protect it, because there were a lot of people who are worried that, well, of course, it's a big business. You know that politicians, very important business people are involved. Yeah. So like William Wilberforce in England, he faced so much opposition. Then when we got the law and it was published, then there was an attempt to destroy it completely. Yes. So it was such a challenge. And again, a lot of people has helped, a lot of NGOs, a lot of friends, lawyers, of course, a lot of people in media. I think something very good that our country has is that the victims are never criminalized. Here in Mexico, prostitution is not a crime, but and we want to keep it like that. But of course, in this law, we criminalize the people who exploited it. Yes. And also, of course, the pimps. And it's not only sexual, but also, the forced begging, also false adoptions. Here we have crime that takes children and they make them kill somebody or transport drugs. So also our law criminalizes even the slavery itself. So it's a very, very strong law. We have in my book that is called Hoja en Blanco, Blank Page, I talk about the importance of justice and truth for all of the victims. And it's very important to get the pimps to jail. So we have helped the victims, and 98% of the pimps, of the traffickers, are in jail. Good. So that's, for me, it's one of the most important job we have done is to go with them to the trials and help them with lawyers until we have the pimps in jail.
Yes. Nonprofits by nature, they really rely on other people. And so what ignites the fire in them? How do you get people to dream along with you?
Well, here in Mexico, we don't have the money from government. We kept it like that since we started, because you are facing so many criminals, and sometimes they are involved in politics in your country and in my country. Mm-hmm. So we didn't want to have any money from government, not to have never problems. So we have the help of so many good people who knows the good work of all the people that works with us. And they they have heard so many of the survivors. We call them supervivors. I mean,
Yeah,
in
I love
Spanish,
that.
supervivientes, because we admire them.
Yes.
For me, I am doing something that Jewish people, I love the way they ask, the rabbi asks for at tzedekah. Tzedek means justice. So when you give for a cause like this, you are not good. You are doing an act of justice.
Exactly.
I receive so much in life, and I have a good opportunity now to make a balance in life. There is injustice. God has given me too much, or something that I don't deserve. I'm not better than anybody else. So if I receive more than others, I have. It's not that I am good, it's that it's justice. It is an act of justice to give the hand and to give something to others. So I think that's the concept that I like in my heart, in my mind, that I am just helping somebody like these girls or boys, and then they will do the same. That's why it's so important that 7 of them are working with us. So what about you? How do you motivate them to help you more?
We also don't have government grants. And so being very, very small, I started my nonprofit by myself. In my car, I got a lot of outreach materials and had them in my trunk that I bought with my tax return, because I knew that there was girls and boys like me out there, and women and men like me out there, and that, I wanted to share that there's hope. And, it doesn't matter where you've been, what has happened in your life. We, like you said, it can be a blank sheet. And so, starting so small, I went a year and a half without being able to, draw a paycheck. And, I'm blessed in my life too, to have a supportive husband, and, we own a home, and, I'm a mom and a grandma, and I have, a wonderful family, but I wanted to give back, and I wasn't able to really do that without their support. And so, just being so small and growing very quickly, because I've been a consultant for a number of years, but I'm able to bring those contracts into the organization. But, some of our biggest struggles with getting people to buy into us is we do incredible work, but we're too busy doing the work that we don't have a website developer. We don't have somebody to manage our social media. And I had a funder of mine tell me, Jerri, you at Innovations Human Trafficking Collaborative do amazing work, but nobody knows about it because you're too busy doing the work. And so we have a lot of needs like that, because nonprofits by nature rely on other people. And so that's why we need things and opportunities like Upnotch to be able to get the word out there and be able to mentor each other. Because
we have to go like this to Upnotch. Like this again.
I can tell you how to start a nonprofit out of your trunk, but I can't tell you how to, manage a website or things like that. So we all have our gifts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we struggle every month for helping now 82 persons since 6 years old, the little ones, and we have girls that has finished as university and master degrees, and now for the first time we have a program that is to exit prostitution. All the rest of the people that we are helping, they were minors, victims. They grow, and now they are young girls that are successful. But before this project, we were not helping somebody that was without pimps, okay? So now the first project we have to exit, it's a girl whose son has been so sick that she decided being act of a will, but of course there is no will when you have uh, when you are starving, and then you have to decide if you starve or do or go to prostitution. Of course, there is not. You are not free. You are not deciding really. So now we are giving her the way that she can have a business. She's painting hats, and she's doing a fantastic job. And the hats are being sold. And she last time she was in a situation of prostitution, a man almost killed her. She was in the floor full of blood, and she was really, really dying because of that act of this horrible man. So we know that 40% of the women or boys that are in situation of prostitution, they end as a kill. They are murdered, and that's terrible. That's why I love that you said that it's so important to punish the buyers.
Yeah.
That's working in France. That's working in
Yes.
so many places. So I hope soon in the United States and Mexico there will be a very strong law to punish the demand, to punish the buyers. So I love that you said that, Jerri.
Yes.
I really appreciate it, and I hope a lot of people that is going to watch this video will go to that direction that has been working in Israel, France, Ireland, of course, Sweden, that started,
Yes.
and Norway.
You know, I couldn't agree more. And so I have a question for you. If you could go back to Rosie 10 years ago and talk to your younger self when you know, 10 years or whenever you first started on your nonprofit path, what lesson would you share with yourself?
Well, I would like to go back when I changed my life, when I also got a blank page. I was 23 when I had an encounter with God. I was in Israel, and I had an incredible encounter with God. And I would love to have started at that time to fight against trafficking. You know, I feel that in Mexico there is only 8 states that has a shelter, and that makes me so sad every day, because we need a shelter in each state. 32 shelters we need. I know that in the United States there is only very few places, 600 and something beds. In Mexico, it's also like that, and it's terrible because there is so many victims that they are not able to have a protection and an opportunity and a blank page. They don't have the opportunity. So that's something that I felt so bad when I was in 2005 in this event, and I didn't know anything about trafficking, and I did nothing before. And I really would love to go back and start it younger.
Yeah.
What do you think you will do if you could go in a time machine, and go back and you can say, well, if I was this age, you know, what do you think?
You know, right off the bat, 2 things come in my mind. One, I wish that I, in my nonprofit work, would, in the beginning, reached out for more help. You know, instead of you know, trying to take on so many different things myself, that you know, we can't do it all. And so really, you know, if you're out there and you want to start a nonprofit, you know, have conversations between people, you know, talk to each other about, you know, the stories and the experiences and so forth, you know, really reach out in collaboration. And you know, I know that, like, you know, grants and funding are often competitive, but you know, there's other people in the nonprofit sector that if I would have you know, reached out to them and, you know, hey, I'm a new founder, you know, can I ask you questions? But I think that I don't know if pride is the right word, or just not really knowing the path. And so that's why I'm really grateful for opportunities like this, the mentor to mentor talks.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, and the second thing, with staff, I think it's really important to, especially if you're working with people that are survivors, or individuals that have a trauma past, to have a very clear perception and conversation around the difference between supervision and what is control. Working with survivors that are growing in their professions isn't easy.
Mhm.
But I can tell you this: if you come from a trauma-informed lens and you want to help survivors, give them a job,
Mhm.
and have compassion. And so those are the two things that I can think of.
That's incredible. I really, I'm blessed to meet you. I'm so blessed to hear everything you have said. It's going to be a treasure in my heart, in my mind. I really appreciate everything you have done, and I admire you. Like you said, like this,
Yes,
I really admire you.
you know,
Thank you, Jerri.
I feel exactly the same way. And I hope this is just an opportunity for us to start collaborating, because
Yes,
when you put two amazing Indigenous women together that want to stop human trafficking and have the backing, and we can do this, but we can't do this alone.
and
Um,
let's dream together that you come to
yes,
Mexico and that you can give a conference and talk to a lot of the girls and boys that have
yes,
been rescued. Please, let's dream together in doing
yes,
so many things together that you will never feel that you are by yourself and that you need. I really love that this is the first meeting we have together, but that we are going to do so much together.
yes. And I thank you so much. And I just appreciate, mentor to mentor talks, having us
Yes.
on here. And I wish we were right together in the same room, but you know what? We'll make it happen. So
Yes,
thank
and
you.
I'm sure there is going to be so many people that will come in our side and we will be able to mentor them. And thanks to Upnotch, it's incredible the job that you are doing, and united, we can make the difference.
Yes. Thank you.